chill out, relax, watch the sun go down, take some photographs. This is just about a peaceful summer's evening of photography in the Northmore National Park. I'm going to tell you no more at this point. You're just going to have to join me up on the top in a minute and I'll explain to you exactly what it's all about and what I'm doing. What a glorious summer's evening. It's taken me about 20 minutes to get here. Probably about a 15-minute drive on top of that. But when I said it was going to be a nice gentle evening, sitting down in the sunshine, watching the sunset, I wasn't wrong. It really was an easy evening to get up here. And what's more, it's a location that I've actually been to before. And that's one of the beautiful things about living in a location like this. I can come out here pretty much any time I want, and I'm up amongst the tors and the woodland and and the moorland of the Northmore National Park, so I'm really quite lucky. But the reason I came up here was because probably about 18 months, well, probably 2 years ago actually now, to be honest, 2 years ago, I came to this spot to take a photograph. And I took the photograph, and I'm going to put it up on the screen for you now actually. And although I'm reasonably happy with it, there's one thing that's missing in this photograph. I came up with an idea in mind. That idea was to capture this tree with some blossoms. I thought the blossoms look kind of really good against those colours in the sky. But I've got a tree and I've got no blossom on it, so basically I timed it wrong. So I've been watching the trees carefully and tried to pick the best moment to come up here. And I come up here tonight to reshoot it, and yes, we have got blossom. In fact, it's absolutely stunning. Now I know a little bit more about trees than I used to, and one of the problems with it is you'll get more blossom and fruit on the southern facing side than you will on the north, and we're shooting from the north, so we're on the barren side of the tree, but we're still going to get that blossom in the picture anyway, and it's going to look really good for us. Now I've got probably about, I don't know, I would hazard a guess at maybe half an hour, maybe an hour before the sun starts to get to a level where I can take these photographs, and then I'm going to hang around as the light changes. So all I need to do now is get my composition sorted out. I can do that fairly leisurely, see if we can improve on the one I had last time, and see what we can sort out. So when I've got some composition to show you, I'll show you what I'm doing. I really wanted to show you the setup from this vantage point, but I couldn't really do it. I couldn't get everything up on the boulder. So I've been taking a number of photographs. The trouble is when the sun starts to go down, the light starts to change, things happen really, really quickly. So I didn't get an opportunity to do what I wanted to do. So apologies for that, but I'll talk you through what I've done anyway. So where I am at the moment, because of the high vantage point, I've been able to get the tree against the dark sort of woodland in the background, and I've still got this very bright sky right up above it, so it's quite interesting, different layers in the image. Now I don't quite know how it's going to work out, if it's going to stay in this position for later on when I get that colour in the sky that I'm waiting for. I don't think I've taken the picture that I wanted to take, but I do think I've got an interesting picture, and a picture that I quite like, and something that captivated me and I wanted to capture. So we're going to have I'll put up on the screen for you, you can see what it looks like. The sun's not gone down yet, it's still above the horizon, it's still a little bit of time before sunset. So although we're in shadow where we are, yeah, we've still got a few sort of like half an hour, 20 minutes or so before it's actual sunset, if we start to get any colour in that sky. So we're going to have a little bit of a wait about, and it's surprising how much the temperature's dropped, just having that sun go down. So I'm going to put something a bit warmer on, get this, look for some more compositions possibly, and decide where I'm going to stay with this one. Right, okay. This photograph is an excellent example of why you should revisit locations. You return with different eyes, your knowledge of the landscape may have improved, your style of photography evolved. All these things bring different results. This time I came away with photographs that had more depth and meaning. I didn't expect to get this photograph, but after processing the image and working hard to bring out the best qualities in the light falling on the tree, I'm pleased that I did. The photography took a turn for the better at this point, but the vlog took a turn for the worse. You see, the problem is shooting stills and video at the same time isn't easy. You're thinking about composition, you're thinking about exposure, you're thinking about capturing those special moments, not just for your still photography, but also for your vlog. And when you're trying to be creative as a landscape photographer, sometimes you need to get into that zone and just concentrate on the photography and that alone. And I've always made a rule for myself that it would be the photography that always came first. So if something had to stop, if something had to go, it was going to be the vlog. And that's exactly what happened on this shoot. Although I didn't realise it at the time, I started to ignore the camera, ignore the vlog, ignore you, the audience, the people I was supposed to be talking to, and concentrated just on my photography. But because the photography was going well, I want to share the images with you. So this is where I edit my videos, sat right here. And it was about this point on the video where I actually decided, right after I'd edited the first photograph and put that together, that it wasn't really going to work out very well. So I decided to stop, get a cup of coffee and talk to you. But what it also does, it gives me an opportunity to talk to you about this. So this is my book for the landscape. This book itself isn't actually for sale, but you have got the opportunity to get a free copy of my ebook version of this for the landscape. And all you need to do that is to go into the description of one of my videos, click on the link, subscribe to my newsletter, and you'll get a download link and you can have your own copy of this book. But that's enough of the advertising. You're not here for that. So this photograph up on the screen was one that I took a couple of years ago from this location. And this is the image that I was really sort of trying to go back to and capture this time. But what I wanted was this tree covered in all that blossom that we've seen already. When I took this image, I was relatively pleased with it. I love the depth of the colour in the sky and everything, but I just wanted a bit more life in the tree. It wasn't what I really had in my mind when I went back. But going back this year did pay off, and there's plenty of blossom on the tree. So let's have a look in Lightroom and look at the images that I actually managed to capture. Yes, so when I visited this location again this time, there was blossom on the tree, which is absolutely fantastic because that's what I wanted to get. But the exposure was no less difficult. If you see from these thumbnails up on the screen now, up inside Lightroom, we've got an extreme contrast range where we've got the sky with those nice deep colours in it, and we retain that detail and that information. We've got silhouettes in the tree, and you can't even make out the blossom. So I've got to lighten the image. I've had to lighten things up in the exposure to bring that white back out of that blossom. But of course the problem is then is that the sky goes overexposed. But I did actually manage to retain some detail, enough so that when I edited the final image inside of Lightroom, I could still maintain that feeling that I wanted. Let's have a look at the final image and you can tell me what you think. The key to this photograph was in the processing. It's not a complex composition, but controlling the highlights, shadows and colours was critical. To help with this, I let the sun continue to fall, reducing the contrast, and took the photograph at what I thought was the optimum point. And when I processed it, accepted that I had to reduce the contrast to keep the blossom white. I couldn't darken the highlights, so I added a little warmth to the sky, desaturated the greens, dodged the branches of the tree to reveal more of their texture. So this is the photograph that I really came to capture and the one that I wanted to sort of come away with, and I'm really pleased with the result. But this is where vlogging sometimes gets in the way of creative photography, because what I found is that as I was working, there was other images I wanted to photograph and do, but always in the back of my mind was the need to capture this video. But like I said, in the end I put the vlogging setup away and concentrated just on my photography. So as the sun started to drop and the light levels lowered, the contrast reduced, I was able to get more detail and more interest in the tree. But of course with the lower light levels, I had to use a slower shutter speed if I was going to maintain the same ISO. but the tree started to dance and sway and move about a bit in the breeze, and I kind of liked that and wanted to capture some of that colour. Turning away in the opposite direction to this by now, there was some warmth starting to be picked up in this granite boulder, and in sheep's tor on the distance there was some faint, warm, reflected evening light which I really thought looked attractive and I wanted to capture. So let's have a look at this final image. I processed this photograph, enhancing the warmth, desaturating the greens, lifting the yellows a tiny amount, adding life to the ferns at the base of the tree, finishing everything off with a gentle vignette. So this video was a little bit different to my previous ones. If you enjoyed it or didn't enjoy it, please put a comment below. Let me know what you think. Do you want to see more videos like this? If you did enjoy the video, please give it a thumbs up. It makes all the difference to my content. Consider subscribing, and if you subscribe, tick that bell icon so you get the latest updates of when I release new videos. And I'm going to see you next time.